Good morning, everybody. Hello, good morning. How are you? Happy Thanksgiving weekend. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you practiced your gratitude. I hope you remember to be grateful for everything and everybody yesterday. We're setting up the podcast here while I let you guys all catch up with the fact that I'm online. Good morning, everybody. We're going to do a relatively quick edition this morning, about 20 minutes. I've got a particular topic in mind, and I'm sure everybody is either recovering from a food coma or getting ready to decorate for Thanksgiving. For Christmas after Thanksgiving. Good morning, Dodie. Personally, I gained 2 pounds from a paleo chocolate pie that my son made that I couldn't leave alone in the refrigerator. It's super rich because I have to eat an all paleo diet, and he made me this pie, and I couldn't leave it alone. That's the thing about me. It's like I can't have one cookie. I have to have 60 cookies, so I don't eat any cookies. I cannot eat any, but I can't do like one. So that pie was in there, and I knew it was in there, and by the end of the night, the quarter of the pie that was left was gone. All right, so no more pie. No more pie until next year. All right, we're going to bring in our podcast listeners now. Tracy, I was able to update. We were worried my iPad started updating itself because I hit the wrong button and I wasn't sure we'd be able to record the podcast this morning. So good morning, Buffy. A couple quick laundry list items. We are starting to do live events, free live events. Revealing Leaders in Delta Hire. I am the CEO of Delta Hire, which is a leadership training and development company and a full-fledged recruiting firm. And so we are leading our first event in Portsmouth, New Hampshire next Saturday. So we'll come to you live Saturday morning next week from Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And I created a workbook for this event, and then we're going to turn it into a free downloadable for the site. So the workbook actually arrived, and I love it. It's really great. So for those of you that follow me religiously, you know every year I usually produce a workbook that you can buy on Amazon, and this year we are going to just make it a free downloadable, so we're not selling it at all. So I am going to get with Drew, who takes care of my website, and Pam, who designed the cover of this and everything, and we're going to get a PDF file that's downloadable. So hopefully by next Saturday morning, you will be able to download the workbook from the site. Meanwhile, the first 5 people that email me, we're going to talk about boundaries this morning and protecting your time. So we'll get into that in a second, but we'll say that the first 5 people to email me 3 places where you need to create boundaries this holiday season or strengthen your boundaries will get a free preview copy of this. I'll actually send you a couple because I ordered some extras. So again, I only ordered these in print for an event that free event that we're doing next weekend in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. We are going to make this a free downloadable from the site, hopefully by next weekend. But if you want a printed copy, a limited edition, be one of the first 5 people to email me the boundaries, where you need to put your boundaries in this holiday season. So we are now a couple days after Thanksgiving. We're into the mad push for Christmas and New Year's. This is a time. No, Wendy, you need to email me. You've got to email me your areas where you're going to put boundaries in this holiday season and going forward into the new year. Okay. So boundaries are a tricky thing, right? Everybody needs them. Nobody wants to talk about them. A lot of people do not want to establish them because it can be uncomfortable. Lots of times we've taught people in our lives that people are confused. Guys, do not give me your email. Email me. Email me 3 to 5 places that you need to put in your boundaries and include your mailing address in that email. Pay attention to what Tracy's dropping in the comments. So do not put your email address in there. In fact, I suggest you take it out because the whole public, the million and something people that follow this page can see your email address. So I don't know if you want them to be able to do that. Anyway, boundaries. Going into the holiday season, there are a lot of demands on your time. Your parents, you are parents, you have relationships. The holidays are wonky for people. People either love them or they don't like them or they get super stressed out by them. So lots of different things happen for people around the holidays. Boundaries are really important. It's important for you to protect your time. When you don't protect your time and I'm not sure what this person is talking about. Okay. When you don't protect your time, you open yourself up to a lot of different things. You have to learn to protect your time and you have to learn to set boundaries, and you can't just let people have access to you whenever they want. It's something that we all learn as we get older. Of course, when we're younger, we just give our attention to everybody and everything. And as we get older and we have more responsibilities and there's more draws on our time, you're unable to keep your own equilibrium in peace if you don't have any boundaries. You just end up giving, and pouring yourself into people sometimes that don't give back or situations that don't enliven or inspire you. You end up exhausting yourself because you are not protecting your time and you're not setting boundaries. So a boundary means that, if a friend calls and all they want to do is complain to you, that you would, either not take the call or you would ask them to set up a time that's convenient for you to listen, or you might give them a framework in which to operate, like, okay, you can vent to me for 5 minutes and then I have a list of things that I need to get done. When you don't have any boundaries and people think that they can just do whatever they want, they will. It doesn't mean that they don't respect you. It means that you're allowing it, right? It's whatever you allow. People will treat you the way that you allow them to treat you. So if you are wanting to protect your time, you need to be able to speak up and do that. Protecting your time means that you believe and realize that your time is valuable, that your time is your life energy, that you understand that when you are just talking all the time or listening to people complain and dump on you, that's taking your energy. That's a drawdown on your energy. It's exhausting. If you are around people at the holiday season and they are like complaining and negative and you'll be exhausted. You won't be enlivened. It's not giving anything back to you. So you want to clearly establish like rules of engagement for yourself. And you don't need to, write them down and give them to people, although you could, because then it might make it easier. But I suggest that you establish your own rules for engagement, like as if you were a military force, or if you, if you had a sales force for a company, or you would establish your rules for engagement. It's a good idea to have that for yourself. It's a great idea to just establish for yourself, what are your rules for engagement? What does that look like? How much time do you want to give to the complainers and the people that are negative? And even some of them might be in your family. So like, okay, in a 24-hour day, what is the amount of time that I want to allot to conversation and chatter that I don't want more of? Stacy, hi! How much time do I want to devote to that? And you may not want to devote time in every 24-hour period to the complainers and the naysayers and the negativity monsters. You may not have that kind of time. And then it's like, how much time in the day do you need to devote to what you have to get done with no cell phone distractions, no conversation distractions, no kid distractions? Like, you have stuff that you want to get done every single day. How much time do you set aside, clear blocks of time, for you to get those tasks done? I'm guessing you probably don't, or it's not a lot. Then you have your children. How much time do you need to set aside for them? Are they little? Are they teenagers? Are they like mine, grown up? You know, how much time there? How much time do you need to set your equilibrium for the day, right? I talk to you guys all the time about bordering the days, bookending your days, the beginning and the end, things like gratitude journals, affirmation index cards, that kind of stuff. How much time do you want to devote there? Start looking at, where are you spending your time? How much time are you spending with your face in your phone because you don't feel like listening to whoever's talking to you, and you're like pretending to listen but you're not really listening, and you're checking your Facebook and you're checking your email, and how many times do you pick this thing up during the day? And how much of it is really necessary? And how much of you picking that up is you avoiding doing something that you need to do, or you distracting yourself from doing something that could forward the action in your life? Or how much is it just designed to not have to pay attention to what's going on around you? Okay? So social media is not a bad thing because it keeps you connected with friends, family, whatever. If it's part of your job, then that's important. Okay? Trish is always reminding us to smile at this time of year. It radiates positive energy. She's absolutely right. Your demeanor, your joy, the way that you show up in the world, that rubs off on people. So if you're pissy and shitty and angry, that shows up around you. That's what you're putting out there. That's also like a boundary issue, because if you're mad all the time and aggravated all the time and tired all the time and angry all the time, it's because you're not setting boundaries. You're not taking the time that you need to take for yourself to make sure that you get yourself into a place where you can deal with the world in a non-reactive state, where you can respond to the world and the stimuli that's coming into you without being aggravated, angry, tired, frustrated, pissy, all of that. So I strongly suggest that you craft, and you don't have to share this with anybody, but for yourself, craft some rules of engagement, especially as we go from now through the new year, because the demands on your time and the stress and the people that you need to deal with and things you need to send out and shop for and trying to make a nice holiday for the kiddos and all of that, those are all demands on your time, everything pulling at you. You can control that. You can control what you allow in. You can control how much of your life energy you expend on each thing, on each person, on each conversation. If you set up for yourself, we'll call them rules of engagement, which are rules for your time and how it's going to work. And, from this time to this time in the morning, I don't pick up my phone. I do my own little, centering activities. I do my affirmations. I do my, my prayer practice, whatever it is that you do to make yourself feel whole and peaceful and centered. It's time to set up rules of engagement for how to interact with you and what is going to bring you the best result. It's time to protect your time, and it's time to stop just allowing everything to steal your life energy from you. One of the ways we're talking about, and we've been talking about since October 2nd, how to have the life that you want and create the life that you want versus the one that you settle for. And part of that is being conscious of boundaries. And part of that is setting up a strategy for how to get into your day and what works for you and what doesn't work. So we're going to call that rules of engagement. What are the rules of engagement for you? What are your boundaries? What are your absolutes? The time that you take for yourself. My sister-in-law is watching. Hi, Nan. The time that this is a good one for you, Nancy. Boundaries on your time. It's a good one for all of us that are Italian, that are always giving to everyone. Rules of engagement. People, set up rules of engagement for your time. Make sure that you are taking the time and protecting the time that you need to center yourself, to feel whole and ready to interact with other humans, okay? People will take as much as you allow them. They will take as much as you give. If you give them an hour, they will take it and ask for more. If you give them 5 hours, they will take that and they will want more. You have got to set up rules of engagement for your time and your energy and what works for you. You cannot pour from an empty pitcher, right? You cannot give from an empty basket. You cannot just keep going and going and going and giving and giving and giving without taking care of yourself. You know, it leads to people drinking more wine than they should. It leads to people not exercising. It leads to you eating stuff that's not good for you. It leads to you not taking care of your relationships with like husbands, boyfriends, girlfriends, whatever. It leads to you not, all of it leads to a place that you don't want to go. All right. Good morning, Jude. And for someone like Jude, who's a good friend of mine, and for my sister-in-law Nancy and Tracy, like for us, for work, it's also like that. So it's not just people, it's also work. Work is always going to be there. The people that need you are always going to be there. The stuff that has to get done is always going to be there. It's time to start looking at things like, if you're able to do things like hire someone to clean your house for you, you're prospering someone else, you're giving them a job. If you need to hire someone to run errands for you, a little high school person, and you give them, $12, $15 an hour, I know not everyone's economically able to do that. If you are, it's a great way to protect your time. You're not the only one that can clean your house. You're not the only one that can shop for your groceries. You're not the only one that can take care of Aunt Mabel. You're not the only one that can, do X, Y, and Z. Part of this is not being a control freak anymore either. Part of it is recognizing how to delegate, ask for help, set boundaries. People, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't. There's nothing left. If you pour and it's empty, you've got nothing to give. And most of us, we are a pillar in our own little world. So if you go down and you can't give or do anything or function, everything's going to go down around you. And it's just not worth it. You've got to learn to ask for help. You've got to learn to take care of yourself. Your first priority every day should be this right here, your vessel, your body, your being. If you're not eating right or taking care of yourself, if you're drinking too much or eating too much crap, whatever, you're not doing yourself any favors, okay? I can tell you that for sure because I watched my mom, who never took care of her physical being, and she ended up dying probably 20 years before she needed to, okay? And that literally was from not taking care of herself and eating okay? Please, she didn't drink hardly any water, all of it. She also was not good at protecting her time. And so if anything, I am taking the life lessons that she showed me, and I am banging the table about this stuff. And I am also bad at this. And sadly, my 20-year-old son is too. And now I've had a wake-up call about it, watching my mom, pass away over the last several years. And so I am saying to you, the exercise, the eating right, the water drinking, all of those things, the prayer time or just alone time or peaceful time where you're just having a cup of coffee with no one talking to you, all of the stuff will still be there, okay? All of the things pulling at your time will still be there. It's not going anywhere, and it probably won't get any better. So all of that is not going to change. You have to change. You have to set boundaries. You have to establish what works for you and what doesn't work. You've got to be the one to protect your time. This is also, I'm in the middle of taking several certificates from Harvard Business School, and I am learning this as well work-wise. When you are a leader and you're leading at scale and scope, you have to learn to protect your time. The more you have to do, the more focused your time has to become. So I am terribly guilty of this myself, and I am about to establish a protocol in the way that I work to protect my own time. So I am not saying anything to you guys that I'm not looking at myself in some respect. Set up what are your rules of engagement going to be. And a great time to practice this is in the next month over this holiday season when so many things are pulling at your time. Okay? So set up your rules of engagement. We'll talk more about this next week. If you want some help or some feedback, feel free to email myself or Tracy at Fortunato Partners, and we'll help you think it through. So don't feel free to ask our help. Sorry, I just see some creepers on here. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. What are your rules of engagement for protecting your time? What are your boundaries going to be? You've got to set up. If you don't do this, if you don't set the boundaries and say what's okay and what's not okay, it'll never happen. Nobody is going to say to you, oh, you don't have 3 hours to listen to my grievances today. Okay, I won't call you. It's not going to work like that. You have allowed people to do whatever it is they're doing, and they're going to keep doing that unless you prevent them from doing that. You've got to protect your time. Listen to me. You've got to protect your time. You've got to protect yourself. You've got to protect what works for you and what doesn't work for you. And you've got to start saying that. You've got to start saying what doesn't work for you. All right? So, make up some rules of engagement for yourself. Look at your boundaries. Look at where you're allowing things that you don't really want to allow. Look at where you need to say no instead of yes. Go to revealingleaders.com. You can find out everything you want to know about us there. I hope you guys have the rest of the holiday weekend is fantastic for you. And I hope you really do take the time to write in your notebook some real rules of engagement for yourself and what you're going to allow and what you're not going to allow for as we walk into this holiday season. Okay, you guys have a great day. Visit us at revealingleaders.com, and we will see you next Saturday where we will be live from Portsmouth doing our first Revealing Leaders in Delta Hire event. Okay, see you soon.